You are knowing what you are wanting. Moves about a bit, yes. Evolves, expands. Have you been able to shut your desire down? Have you stopped trying? May as well. Because this contrasting environment in which you are focused will eternally elicit from you, out here on the leading edge, new desire. It's all set up that way. The expanding universe, in fact, is dependent upon the new ideas that are born out here on the leading edge. You are the summoner of source energy. And without a new asking, there could not be a new answering. And without a new answering, there could not be expansion. So the eternalness that is assured is predicated upon your willingness to participate and continue to ask. So if you ever reach the place where you are no longer asking, then you are no longer summoning. Now sometimes you get tired of being in your physical body, not tired of asking, but tired of resisting that which you have asked for. That's a bummer. When you ask and ask and ask, but hold yourself in vibrational resistance to what you're asking for, it wears you down. It makes you ornery, then it makes you tired. It can make you sick. It makes you not love life. And then you croak. Because you are no longer summoning life forward. In other words, your reason for being is the summoning of life forward. And as long as your life is inspiring you to the new request, then you are adding unto in the way you intended. But when you stop doing that, then at very deep levels of your being, you make the decision to reemerge. Not because you are not always of value, but because you are no longer participating in the way that you intended. In other words, you came forth to summon life force forward. So then you reemerge into non-physical, and then you take another run at it. And when you come forth again, you're fresh and new and frisky. You're eager. Don't you watch those little ones? Aren't they eager? Before the older, tireder ones train them into mutual complacency, there's quite a bit of eagerness going on in those little ones and in those like you who come to remember who you are and why you're here, and most of all, that life is supposed to be fun. You did not come forth into this environment to fix it because it isn't broken. You knew it then. We know it now. We're wanting to remind you of that. And you didn't come forth because you needed the growth. You came forth because you enjoy the process of expansion. And that's really what this gathering is about. We want you to enjoy the process of expansion. Oh, you're going to expand whether you enjoy it or not. Because here in this environment, the variety, the contrast is going to help you to know what you don't want. And it's going to cause you to know what you do want, even if you're not good or interested in putting words to it. You cannot be aware of something unwanted without an equal and equivalent knowing of what you do want springing forth at the same time. And when that asking, when that knowing what you do want erupts within you vibrationally, it's like sending off a rocket that the source within you then rides. The source within you then says, new idea is born, and the source within you then gives undivided attention to the new idea. And then a wonderful thing happens. Law of attraction begins to respond to that powerful focus of the source within you. We call that your inner being. We call it the larger part of you. It's the part of you that even though you are here in this physical body, still remains non-physically focused. Sometimes you call that part of you the soul of you, or your soul. But we want you to understand that you are not dead and then alive and then dead. You are always alive. And while you are here in this physical format, there is a larger part of you that law of attraction is responding to in a larger way, offering vibrational signals that are making things happen. In other words, there is a veritable vortex of attraction happening around everything that you have asked for. We know you've been hearing about law of attraction, and we know that you are getting the idea that you get what you think about. We just want you to understand that you are thinking on two playing fields. You are the thinker here in this physical body, the personality that you know as you. You're thinking about stuff. You're thinking about you. You might be thinking, I don't like me. You might be thinking, I don't like you. You might be thinking, I love me. You might be thinking, I love you. There are a myriad of things that you could be thinking. But in every moment that you are thinking here in this physical body, something wonderful is happening. Your thoughts and the vibration of them are having a vibrational relationship with who you really are and what you really are thinks. For example, the source within you loves life. When you're down on life, you're thinking something different. And that negative emotion you feel that you call depression or irritation is your indicator that your thought just is not blending with the thought of who you really are. Your guidance system is showing you you have free will to think whatever thought you want to think, but when you think thoughts that are a far departure or even a slight departure from the way the source within you has come to know and believe and think, then you will feel the vibrational discord. Your emotions are your indicator every time, no exception, of the harmony or disharmony between the way the source within you is thinking now about that and the way you are thinking now about that. So even when everything in your environment, or all the people, or many of the people, or most of the people, or some of the people around you agree with you that you are valid in your negative thought about this or that person did wrong, that government did wrong, that agency did wrong, I've done wrong. It doesn't matter how many other physical beings agree with you in helping you to try to validate your pushing against attitude. The source within you never ever does it, which means every time you do, you feel negative emotion. Now, many would say, well, I have trained to be objective and I should weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, and I should be a realist. I should face reality. And we say, there's plenty of reality that you could be facing that resonates with what the source within you knows. Like your worthiness, like the prosperity that abounds, like the flexibility and vitality of your physical apparatus, like the brilliance of you, mostly about the worthiness of you, the worthiness of you, the worthiness of you, the worthiness of you and others, the worthiness of you and others, the worthiness of you and others, the worthiness of you and others. But when you get fixated on something that is not about the worthiness of you or others, that is about the badness of them or the wrongness of them, you suffer the self-inflicted discord of separating yourself from you. And then the most interesting of all things occurs. You blame them. If you weren't bad, I wouldn't feel this way. If you were good, my standard of good. If you were good, my standard of good. If you were good, my standard, my culture, my religion, my political background. If you were good in the way that I know that good should be, you say in your physical format, then I could watch you and I'd feel good. So I will join the ranks of the billions of defeated people who have attempted this impossible task of controlling the circumstances and events so that I can feel good. It's no wonder you get tired and want to croak. Because when you believe that your happiness is dependent upon them being better than they are, you're in deep trouble. Because, first of all, they don't even agree with you about what right is. They have very different ideas, many of them, about what you think is the right way of life. The right way of thinking, the right way of governing, the right way of economing, the right way of everything. You don't agree with large bodies of people about anything. Don't you sometimes find you're with friends, you've been with them, you've been on their same wavelength on so many things, and then something comes up and you go, whoa, whoa, I had no idea you thought that. Now we cannot be friends. And what we're wanting you to understand is that you don't need to, nor can you ever, find complete agreement with others. And you know why? Because complete agreement with others would create a platform of such non-diversity that there could be no new idea ever born. And growth, all growth, would cease, which means existence would stop. Don't worry about it. It will never be. We're just wanting you to understand the futility of trying to get them to clean up their act so that you can feel better. And when you finally give that up, oh, friends, you will experience freedom like you've never known it before. Freedom and control of your own state of being. You will discover that you can be happy. You can be in alignment with who you are, regardless of what anyone else is doing, when your alignment with you is what you seek. Now, many say at this point, well, how do I know? I had a hard time figuring out which political group to belong to, and got to tell you, it hasn't worked out that well for me. Or which religious group to belong to. In fact, in many cases, I've chosen none because they're all stupid. We're quoting you. We're quoting you. And so, how can I know that there's guidance that is true guidance? And we want to explain that to you. We want you to understand that over all that has been, there have always been leading edge beings who are asking from the new point of discovery. Asking, and when you ask, the source within you rides that rocket of desire and becomes it. What we're getting at is, it is right, it is always right, no matter where you stand, to ask for what feels best to you. And so imagine this source energy, let's call it God, you usually do. This source energy who is the consensus of what everyone, even one-celled organisms, have been asking for that would be best for them. Can you imagine a more equal opportunity? Can you imagine anything being more right than for there to be a holder of all requests and a pushing against nothing? An environment where what you ask for is always given? And if you can stay with us just a little bit, imagine an environment, even a physical environment, which is really about as far as you can imagine, and that's fine. Imagine a physical environment where everyone is making their personal and important, valid request from where they stand, from whatever just happened. And when they ask for whatever it is, they get it. And then we just want to remind you that every single thing that any of you have ever asked for or ever will ask for is for one reason only. You think you will feel better in the having of it. In other words, what you're asking for is alignment. What you're asking for is harmony. What you're asking for is wholeness. What you're asking for is the validation of that which is source of the goodness of that which is you. So imagine a society where billions of people are asking, and source is holding for each of them the equivalent of what they're asking for. Only in this physical environment that we are describing, these billions have been working for alignment with who they are. And so when they ask, they don't doubt if they will receive. They don't worry. They don't feel competition of others. They don't squabble over resources. They don't push against others. They don't try to make others wrong so that they can be right. They just ask and receive. And we want you to step back far enough with us to understand that no matter how it looks to you in any moment in time, that's really what's going on. You all are out here asking, and Source is answering what you're asking for, and the whole of humanity, the whole of all that isness, is becoming more as a result of your fantastic participation here. The reason that we are here talking with you is because you've summoned us But we're not here to try to get you to change what you're asking for. We just want you to understand the process. We just want you to understand the valid platform on which you stand and the perfection of this environment as it exists. We just want you to understand that everything is working out just the way we all knew it would, and that as the contrast inspires you to the new request, that future generations will benefit by the new request that you are putting